Women were oppressed throughout history is an appalling theory.
You cited freedom of speech in that. Why should your right to freedom of speech trump a trans person's right not to be offended?
What? The market is dominated by women. They make 80% of the consumer decisions.
Welcome to our channel, and today we're going to dive in an amazing interview with the renowned psychologist Jordan Peterson. He challenges journalists with politically correct arguments. So get ready for a sharp and thought-provoking analysis where we explore how Peterson dismantles myths and exposes the truth. Buckle up, because this ongoing debate really promises.
Oppressed throughout history is an appalling theory. They haven't had a great time though, have they?
Who has had a great time in history?
But men have had less of a...
Really? Have they? By what standard?
Well, I'm just saying if you're...
How about war?
Yeah, but it took longer for women to get the vote, and women belong to their husbands. It's like, aren't there some clearly obvious things that...
There are inequalities in the catastrophes that the genders are subject to. Everybody had it rough. You say, well, did men or women have it worse? It's like, well... That's a complicated question, but one of the things you can say is everybody had it pretty damn bad.
It's fascinating how Peterson effectively dismantles this narrative that women have always been oppressed. He reminds us that history is tough for everyone. Regardless of being a woman or not, the view that female oppression is a single narrative is a pretty crude perspective, right? And what about the men sent to war, forced into dangerous jobs?
Exactly what happens when you try to debate one of the sharpest debaters alive. Jordan Peterson is a master of logic and facts, and he's never afraid to put people in their place. And that's why in today's video, we'll be looking at times Jordan Peterson completely shut down woke nonsense. Get some snacks and enjoy the fun.
You cited freedom of speech in that. Why should your right to freedom of speech trump a trans person's right not to be offended?
What?
A right not to be offended? Are you serious? Are they just making up laws now or what? Let's see how Jordan handles it.
Because in order to be able to think, you have to risk being offensive. I mean, look at the conversation we're having right now. You know, like you're certainly willing to risk offending me in the pursuit of truth. Why should you have the right to do that?
So you haven't sat there and... I'm just trying to work that out. I mean...
Ha, gotcha.
You have got me.
Well. Getting caught up in your own questions. That's typically how it is with these interviewers. They're just prompted to ask certain questions, and most of the time, they don't even know what they're asking about.
I'm interested in people being able to have different choices and having equality of outcome.
Aha, well, so you're going to have choices and equality of outcome. What if people choose different things, which is what they've been doing in Scandinavia? What about bricklayers? They're 99% male, and men work longer hours. They're more likely to move. They're more likely to work outside. They're more likely to participate in jobs in the STEM fields that are scalable. They make more money for those reasons. And that's all hidden under the idea that the reason that men and women make different amounts of money is because of their gender. It's a very simplistic analysis.
We will never have equality of outcome. It just doesn't make sense. Women choose some jobs while men choose others. But this next interviewer doesn't seem to understand that.
Right, so you're saying that anyone who believes in equality, whether you call them feminists, call them whatever you want to call them, should basically give up because it ain't gonna happen.
No, I'm not saying that at all. I didn't say that women shouldn't be striving for the top or anything like that, because I don't believe that for a second.
Striving for the top, but you're going to put all those hurdles in their way, as has been in their way for centuries, and that's fine. You're saying that's fine.
No, I really
The
think
patriarchal system is just
that's
fine.
silly. I do. I think that's silly.
Successful women, though, basically have to wear the trousers, in your view. They have to sort of become men to succeed, is what you're saying.
Certainly, masculine traits are going to be helpful. If you're going to be successful, you need to be smart, conscientious, and tough.
Well, here's a radical idea. Why don't the bosses adopt some female traits so that women don't have to fight and get their sharp elbows out for the pay rises? It's just accepted if they're doing the same job, they get the same pay.
The market sets the damn game. It's like...
And the market is dominated by men.
No, it's
what
not.
I'm
It's
asking
not.
you-
The market is dominated by women. They make 80% of the consumer decisions. That's not the case
What?
at all.
If you-
Wow.
Hearing some of these people talk, it's like they have zero sense whatsoever. You want equality of outcomes. Okay, how about this? You work as hard as you can on a particular job, and I'm going to half-ass it. I'm not going to work that hard at all. I'm just going to sit there, eat some chips. I'll do the job, but it won't be done well. Meanwhile, you slave over your job. You get it done to perfection. You get it done just the way they want. We're supposed to get paid the exact same? No. How about equality of opportunity? Everybody has the same chance to succeed. That's what life's all about. Everybody has the opportunity to prove themselves.
You were a doctor. Oh,
I'm a psychologist, actually.
okay. Is that what you do for, a living?
Mostly I lecture publicly and write. I'm an author.
Okay. So you're like Hillary Clinton. where you get paid to, go places?
I'm more physically attractive than Hillary.
And Peterson, always brilliant, emphasizes that freedom of speech is essential for intellectual progress, and he indeed shows how the pursuit of truth requires the courage to challenge ideas.
Maybe you just think that women should be equally represented in the decision-making fora of our nation. Maybe that's really just about having proper equality in a body that's meant to be representative.
I don't understand your question.
Yeah, you're not alone.
I guess you don't. That's pretty obvious, unfortunately.
Well, how about if you phrase it more clearly instead of just insulting me? Look at it this way. Let's talk about quotas for a minute. So there's a very wide array of jobs that are fundamentally done by men. So for example,
Member of Parliament,
99.9% of
Sorry, Alex, I'm gonna
bricklayers.
stop sledging you now, I promise.
So she's just constantly interrupting because she knows she's losing big time. What type of behavior is that?
99.9% of bricklayers are men. Should we have quotas for women?
Is bricklaying representative democracy?
That has nothing to do with the question. The question is if there's evidence of structural inequality and oppression because women aren't precisely represented at 50% in all professions at all levels, then why don't we have a conversation about having women represented in all professions at all levels? Why do we talk about the C-suite, for example? Why do we talk about politics and positions of power? Why don't we talk about it across the board?
Okay, so let's just pause and...
Yeah, but that's because it's power.
Exactly. These people who are advocating for equality of outcome basically just wants all the high-value positions and leave the other gender with the crappy jobs. Come on, man. That's not how it works. If you really want to play the game of equality, then I'm expecting to see you at the garbage station tomorrow morning at 5 a.m. when my shift starts.
Ha, gotcha. You know how I stopped getting protesters to my events at university? I held them in the morning.
That's great.
I'm the Messiah. Yeah, really. Well, as long as you don't want me to get out of bed before noon.
Clever. Let them sleep in while we are out here being productive.
Most of the data in all of the countries, come up to that conclusion that a woman who has the same position as a man.
Women and men who do the same job, the women end up getting paid less?
Yes.
And you control for everything else? No, sorry. The data's wrong. There's at least 16 reasons. Men work longer hours. If you work 10% longer hours, you make 40% more money. Men work in more dangerous positions. So there's a wage advantage for working in more dangerous positions.
You're saying that there are many different points that explain why we come up to that final statistic, but that if you look at the reasons why, then it's because men work longer, more than women, and they
work in more dangerous positions. They're more likely to work outside.
I'll take him that.
Peterson argues that this pursuit is futile and ignores personal preferences. And the gender difference in certain jobs reflects choices and not structural discrimination, right?
Nobody's watching them.
If you look and you say, well, on average, women make less money than men, which is also different than saying that they make less for doing the same work, because those aren't the same claims, then you have to say, well, what are the reasons that are contributing to that? You can't just say, well, it's a consequence of gender discrimination, unless you can only think about one thing at a time. And I would say that's another problem with the modern feminist. They can only think about one thing at a time.
You said that, and I'm really not trying to paraphrase you or, to put words into your mouth.
You are trying that directly.
It is things that you said, that you cannot deal with those
yes, but don't tell me that you're not trying to put words into my mouth. What is the purpose precisely?
I am quoting things that you said.
Why? What is it that you're trying to establish?
Because you said them.
I thought we were talking about masculinity.
We are.
No, we're not.
Yes, we are.
How are we talking about masculinity?
Because I'm asking you what you think of men and of women.
Basically what you've been trying to do, I would say, for the last 15 minutes is put me into a sequence of corners by accusing me of various forms of misbehavior. So why are we doing that? What's the point here?
These are things that you said. My job as a journalist is to ask questions about what you represent and the ideas that you defend.
Your job is also to select the things that you might ask about in some manner that doesn't indicate a substantive bias. You picked 3 things to talk to me about in the last 20 minutes that were very carefully selected. Like, why did you pick those things?
Because this is my job.
That might be more newsworthy.
Well, we're not going to have a big debate about journalism, but if a journalist doesn't ask the tough questions, how can you give the good answers?
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
But it depends on what the tough questions are. It depends on
I didn't think that they would be tough. We're talking about things that you said. I mean...
Yo, Jordan kind of got cooked right there. I can't lie. But I'm honestly more interested in hearing your opinion on this clip. Who won this debate?
If you hire 50% women engineers and 50% male engineers, then the women engineers are less qualified because the pool of engineers is lower among women. So you can't hire 50% women engineers without producing a decrement in the quality of the engineers.
Well, in Iceland, an energy company was about to go bankrupt. A new manager came in and said, okay, we've got to throw everything
everything out and start again, and made a conscious decision based on his belief that it's a human right that men and women are paid equally. And so went out of his way to make the workforce within that company 50-50. So we're talking about engineers, we're talking about tradespeople, and they certainly argue that they're not hiring second-rate women.
They might argue that, but if you did it on a large scale, that's what would happen. Because look, you think about it mathematically. If there's 10 times as many male engineers as there are female engineers, then obviously the degree to which the female engineers are proficient cannot be the same as the degree to which the male engineers are proficient. It's mathematically impossible.
So you're saying don't even try.
And Peterson criticizes the imposition of quotas as a simplistic solution to complex inequalities and argues, and Peterson raises a crucial point, about the inherent and multifaceted complexity of the gender pay gap, challenging the notion that it's just a matter of discrimination. And he argues, in a world where woke culture is politically correct, it actually stifles this debate, right? But Peterson came to bring the undeniable truth, indeed his truth, and to be a voice that challenges the norm. And his responses not only deconstruct weak arguments, but also promote a deeper, more thoughtful and constructive dialogue. And if you like this video, I invite you to subscribe to this channel to dive into more controversial debates like this one. Leave a like, share your opinions and thoughts in the comments, and also share it with your friends. And if you definitely have a friend who enjoys this kind of video and values these frank and honest opinions, share this video with them. He will be very happy to be remembered by you. Don't forget to leave your like, activate the notification bell. Thank you all very much. See you next time.